Origin Chance, UX, and this is The War That Changed the English Language, Mini War Part 3 by the channel Oversimplified. Yeah, this is a mini war series from Oversimplified. We already did the Falklands, Emu War, and now the War That Changed the English Language. I guess going to talk about Normans, right? Because that's, Duke of Normandy. That's the key changing point, I guess, 11th century or something, in which, right now, third of the English people can trace their lineage back to the Duke of Normandy or something. So that could be it. But I guess we'll see. Remember, this is oversimplified video, right? So that's why the checkered box is there. I said this in the previous videos, but I'm gonna say it again. I mean, people still have issues with this. That I don't care about content ID claim, right? But in the past, my channel wasn't monetized because I had still content ID claims on my channel, right? When I removed all those content ID claim videos, then my channel got monetized. You hear stories of some channels that are have good enough 1,000 subscribers and they are monetized, but suddenly one day they are not without any reason given. So I don't want to end up in that situation, and my experience is telling me to not have any content ID claim on my channel. That's why I'm putting checkered box there. When it comes to YouTube algorithm doesn't check properly, like which is fair use and which is not, right? Reaction, if you give good enough reaction, like let's say this is 12-minute video, so if I give 20-minute video of a reaction, that is considered fair use, right? So, but YouTube algorithm is still a bit weird on that front, so I have to put checkered box there. I mean, if some channel tells me not to react, I would not react to that channel. So it's not that content ID is the issue, but content ID sometimes makes the channel demonetized. That's the problem here. So yeah, and I'm not getting much for this anyway. I get a few hundred views or 1,000 views. So I'm getting $1 a video. That's like nothing. But I like to be monetized on my channel. I don't want to be demonetized, because then the algorithm also doesn't post the video of certain people. If your channel is demonetized, your video also gets suggested less or something like that. I don't know how YouTube algorithm works, but these are the things that floats out there. Like, this is how the algorithm works, and I'm kind of scared of it. So yeah, let's do this one.
This video was made possible by Skillshare, an online learning community with over 17,000 classes in just about anything you can imagine. Keep watching until the end of the video to learn how you can get your first 2 months for free. England in the Middle Ages. The sun is shining, the birds are singing, the children are playing in the village square. What a wonderful time to be alive! Hey, you're dying of dysentery. And also are being raided by Vikings. What an awful time to be alive! It's the year 900. Europe is a Viking's wet dream. Raids galore. Hey, you want to go raid Paris? Okay. That particular raid didn't go too well, but the king of the Franks said, "You guys are pretty tough and scary. How about we give you land in northern France, and in return, you protect us from other Vikings?" And it was agreed. The Vikings set up the Duchy of Normandy, and then they went full-on French, converting to Christianity, learning the language, and making babies with the locals. England also had its fair share of Viking problems. In the 800s, Danish Vikings had conquered most of the country, but the Anglo-Saxons eventually managed to kick them out, although they left behind a bunch of Viking settlers. Now this guy's king. He sucks. Replace him with his brother. And he was like, "Hey baby, how you doing?" and had a son, and then turned around and was like, "Hey baby, how you doing?" and had another son. And then he died and no one was sure which son to make king. This one, because he's older. Not if I have anything to do with it. That works for us too. Then he grew up and married the Duke of Normandy's daughter and had a bunch of kids. Remember this one. He's important. Then his advisors came to him and said, "Hey man, all those Viking settlers that are living here, they might band together and kill you. Well then why don't we kill them first?" And so it was. This
Yeah, you know what? I never thought of that. But yeah, Normans are Vikings, right? Damn, I remember hearing that somewhere, but I don't know, that detail glossed over my head. Every time I think of Normans, I always think they have, Franks, basically, French people. But no, they were Vikings that came there and then called themselves Normans. Damn, so I guess British people are Vikings in a way, right? Damn, I never thought of that.
pissed off the Danish king, who launched an invasion, and the Vikings conquered England once again. Then the Anglo-Saxons unconquered it, then the Vikings reconquered it. The king's family had to go into exile, including Edward. Remember him? He went to Normandy where he lived for 30 years. He and his brother Alfred tried to return to England to retake the throne from the Vikings, but they were betrayed by the Earl of Wessex, who said, "Hey friend, I'll take you to London where all the nobles are waiting to make you king. Oh no, look out, red hot poker in the eyes. I can't see. And thus you can't be king." Edward then escaped back to Normandy. After a few more Viking kings came and went, one finally died without an heir, and Edward was called back to England where he became king. And that's where our story begins.
Battle of Hastings.
Here's
Yeah.
the thing about becoming a king in the Middle Ages. Often your entire country won't support you at first. You can be vulnerable to rebellions, and it's up to you to take control. Fortunately for Edward, there was already a super powerful guy who had a lot of control over England, and if Edward could get his support, then England would...
Yeah, in that time, basically, it was like the seat, seat of a king had power, right? Not the particular person. So some person is along the way to become a king. There are lots of different areas of the group who try to prevent that by killing the guy somehow, revolting, trying to assassination, whatever, any means necessary. But when he becomes a king, it's like, he's a king. Now you can't touch him.
be his. Who is this guy? Oh, piss, it's the guy who gave my brother the red hot poker in the eyes. After an awkward moment where Edward exiled Godwin from the country, he eventually had to give in and let him keep his earldom, possibly after Godwin gave him a bunch of gold and said he was very, very sorry. King Edward also married Godwin's daughter. Then Godwin died, and his massive fortune was passed down to his son.
Look at his face. He's not happy about any of this.
Sons, who all became earls. In particular, this one became the new Earl of Wessex. Harold Godwinson was now King Edward's brother-in-law. He was a close advisor to the king, a brave warrior who had proven himself in battle against the Welsh, and in many ways he was almost like a co-king. Uh-oh, Edward got old and he's on his deathbed. Possibly for religious reasons, or maybe because he wasn't happy about having to marry her, he didn't boink his wife, and as a result has no kids.
I think it's because he saw his brother's face every time he's thinking about even boinking her. Like, your father is the reason that, my brother is not around. He was blind and died something.
Meaning there's no obvious heir to the throne. Meaning I'm gonna be king. He does have a grandnephew, it could be him.
Nah.
Now let's go with me. Just one problem. I mentioned that Edward's mother was a Norman. Edward grew up in Normandy, and he had a lot of Norman friends. The current Duke of Normandy was William the Bastard. Why was he called the Bastard? One day his father was sneaking out of his castle when his advisors said, "Where are you going?" To the tanner's shop? Why? To get a tan.
There you go.
But that was a lie. Firstly, because tanners give you leather, not tans, and secondly, because he was really going to see the tanner's daughter. One thing leads to another, and out comes baby William, born out of wedlock. Thus, an absolute bastard.
I mean, he didn't need to clarify what bastard means, right? I think people who watch historical videos would know what bastard means. He just went into whole detail why was he called bastard. I think it's in the name.
His father died when William was 7 or 8, and he became the new Duke. He spent most of his childhood narrowly avoiding assassination, which probably turned him into the big balls tough guy he's remembered as today. In 1051, the town of Alençon tried to rebel against him, and the townspeople beat on dead animal skins as an insult to his commoner mother. William was furious, and he responded by, well, let's just say it wasn't pretty. That's the kind of guy we're dealing with here.
I mean, you're gonna go against the leader, duke, king, whatever of your place, and just try to respect his mother. Of course, he's gonna kill you all. And we know William the Conqueror, how big he was. I mean, yeah.
Edward were good friends, and Edward allegedly promised that William could have the English throne after him. A decade later, Harold Godwinson even visited William and pledged an oath to him over holy relics, promising that William could be the next king of England. Although it's possible Harold only did it because William was...
Man, it's something, right? The guy's like, okay, you're gonna be next king after me because there's no way in hell I'm having any kids because I'm not touching that thing.
holding his family hostage. So when William heard that the king was on his deathbed, he said, "Hooray, I'm gonna be king." So now you have two extremely powerful men who both think they're about to become the next king. But wait, this guy is the king of Norway.
Ah, yeah,
he
it's
spent
a
most of his
three-way
life
fight,
as
right?
a warrior for hire, fighting for whoever would give him the most gold. You name a place, he probably fought a war there. Poland? Yep. Estonia? Yep. Against pirates in the Mediterranean? Yep. The Holy Lands? Sicily? And Bulgaria? Yep. He got crazy rich off the back of it and was swimming in gold. Then he returned home and became king. One of the previous Norwegian kings had made an agreement with one of England's Viking kings, saying that when that Viking king died, the king of Norway would get the English throne. Hardrada felt that because of this agreement, he was now entitled to the English throne. He was also eager to go on one last big conquest that would turn him into a legend. So when he got word that Edward was on his deathbed, he thought, I'm going to invade England, and then I'm going to be king. So now we have three extremely powerful men who all think they're about to become the next king of England, and that means somebody's probably about to get hurt. Back in England, Harold Godwinson is watching over the dying King Edward. Suddenly, he comes out with a shocking announcement. Hey, everyone, gather in. That's it. Come closer. Don't be shy. Okay, so I've got bad news. The king is dead. I know, very sad. But good news. He said that I should be the next king. So, hooray for me. And, oh yeah, he said that if he once told anyone else they could be king, that he doesn't like them anymore, and they should just stay in Normandy. And also he said that no one should ask any further questions. Okay, good talk. Go do whatever it is you do. Usually it took months of preparation to crown a new king, but Harold rushed it and he had himself crowned the same day King Edward was buried. In Normandy, William's advisors came to him and said, "Hey, Big Willie."
I'm imagining, I know he put box there, right? Box. But I'm imagining him, shouting from the window there, "Hey, everybody, gather on here."
Bad news, Harold Godwinson has taken the English throne, and William was furious. So he sent an envoy to Harold who said, "William says you stole the throne and demands you immediately return it to him." Let me think about that.
No.
No. He said no. That bastard. Wait, I thought you were the bastard. Dude.
Uncool.
Uncool. William immediately began gathering his armies together and preparing for an invasion of England. Now, killing a king was generally frowned upon in old-timey Europe because they were considered to have been chosen by God himself. So back in Normandy, William had to get God on his side. He needed the Pope's blessing for his conquest. So he went to the Pope and said, "Godwinson made an oath to me over holy relics, and then he usurped the throne. Can I kill him?" Sure, why not?
Yeah, I think this is the time where, the English church wasn't a thing, right? Obviously, it will become a thing centuries later. So around this time, Pope still had that power, like who to be king, who to kill, and everything. Because Pope was basically right hand of God. And from there, everybody is under him. So Pope had real power around this time. And obviously, like he saw the money thing, he constantly uses that. Like, God will, smite you down if you kill the king unless God can be compensated. That's how Pope worked every time.
So the Pope gave William his blessing, meaning William now had God on his side. Everything was ready to go. Just one problem. The wind. It was blowing the wrong way, and William had to wait with his army in Normandy, while Godwinson waited with his army in the south of England. They waited, and waited, and waited, and then William said screw it and sailed for England and got shipwrecked because the wind was blowing the wrong way. So then he decided to keep on waiting. They waited for 2 months and the wind never changed. Eventually Godwinson got bored and also ran out of food for his soldiers, so he sent them all home and he returned to London. The south coast was undefended and all William could do was keep waiting. While the northerly wind kept William in Normandy.
See, that tells you why Godwinson is going to lose, because he doesn't even have patience for war, right? It's way too late. And I guess I have to catch a TV show that I like, and he just went home. Well, basically that, he's just waiting there at the French coast, like, oh, anytime now, wind is gonna go away. I don't care if it takes weeks or months, I'm gonna be here.
It was carrying Hardrada and his Viking army to England. Hardrada landed near the old Viking city of York and defeated a regional army led by the Northern Earls, and York surrendered. When Godwinson heard about this, he must have been pretty upset. He had just disbanded his army, and now he had to gather them all together again and march all the way north. He made the exhausting journey in just 4 days, which is crazy quick, and he caught the Vikings off guard and unprepared for battle. The two armies stood on either side of the river Derwent. Legend says that a berserker Viking single-handedly held the only bridge crossing the river, dodging arrows and fending off attackers, until some English soldiers got under the bridge in a barrel and gave him the old spear in the jewels. This gave the Vikings enough time.
I don't care how badass Vikings are, that's just a bit far-fetched. One guy cannot hold on like that. I feel like that's one of those Vikings exaggerated things, right? I highly doubt it was just one guy. Maybe a small team, but not one guy.
Form a shield wall, but because they'd been caught off guard, many weren't wearing their chainmail and armor, and the English eventually defeated them, killing Hardrada, and with him, bringing the Viking era in England to an end.
Still waiting. Finally.
William's fleet of over 700 ships and 14,000 men set sail and landed on the English coast at Pevensey and set up camp near Hastings. And Harold was still all the way in York. His exhausted army had to march all the way south just days after.
You got to feel for the guy, right? First of all, it's like he's waiting for William to come. It's like, he's not coming. God damn it. He just went home. It just disposes army like, okay, go have fun. There is no battle anytime. Suddenly, Vikings are invading. God damn it. I just got out of my, armor and everything. I have to wear it again. Bring on the army. He went all the way to north, defeated the Vikings. They're like, now William is attacking again. Now you have to go all the way to south.
After their battle with the Vikings, Harold made it to London and considered just staying there and waiting for William to come to him. But William forced Harold's hand by burning down a bunch of villages. Harold's army set out and met William's on the 14th of October, 1066, and both sides prepared themselves for the Battle of Hastings. The English were on a hill, so they decided to stay there because it was a good defensive position. The Normans approached, and the two sides probably spent a while yelling at each other. William and the Normans had a few tactical advantages over the English. The first were the archers. The Normans sent volley after volley of arrows at the English, English, who formed a shield wall in defense. Then William sent his infantry up the hill. The English threw anything they had at them, and the Normans couldn't break through the shield wall. Then the Normans' next tactical advantage came into play. William sent his cavalry up the hill, but even they struggled to break through the shield wall defenses. Wave after wave of infantry and cavalry came, and Harold knew all he had to do was let the Normans exhaust themselves and he would win. But then something a bit strange happened. It's possible the Normans incorrectly believed William had been killed. Maybe they lost their will to fight against the shield wall, or maybe it was an intentional deception tactic. But suddenly, the Norman forces turned and ran away from the English. Believing they had won, the English broke their shield wall and chased down the retreating Normans, who then turned around, encircled the English troops, and cut them down. In the chaotic fighting that followed, Harold Godwinson was killed.
Yeah, I was just about to say, like, what the hell? William lost? Harold win? But no, it was all chaos. It's like, this is now battle fought. I thought you were retreating. You can't just turn back and attack again.
The most popular theory being that he took an arrow in the eye. The English were defeated and William had won. He was no more just a bastard. Now, he was a conqueror. At first, the English nobles were reluctant to make him king, but William burned down a few more villages and the nobles eventually gave in and offered him the crown. As he was coronated, the local villagers in Westminster let out a cheer of support, but William thought it was a riot, so he burned down the village. William then had to go on a long and costly campaign of quelling rebellions and
I have to listen to that again.
offered him the crown. As he was coronated, the local villagers in Westminster let out a cheer of support, but William thought it was a riot, so he burned down the village. William
Then people just went like, dude, what the fuck? I mean, we were cheering for you, just burned our home. What the fuck? And the Williams is like, yeah, you were cheering for me? I thought you were rebelling. My bad, man. Alright, see you later.
then had to go on a long and costly campaign of quelling rebellions and burning down villages all over England to force the people into submission. And England went through a massive transformation under its new Norman rule. English nobles were replaced with Normans. They built castles and grand cathedrals, but one of the most interesting changes occurred within the English language.
Yeah, Tower of London, Winchester Cathedral. Also the William couldn't, invade Londinium, right? The city of London that is inside the London right now. He couldn't invade that because the walls of Londinium and everything was hard to invade. So he created something similar, close to it. Created a similar, fort and town and things like that. I guess Westminster. He created that, right?
The Normans brought their dialect of French to England, and it merged with Old English in ways we still live with today. First of all, the Normans were obviously the ones in power, so words related to power like government, judge, castle, and crown come from the Normans. Words that are considered posher or more refined are usually the Norman ones. At first, the Anglo-Saxons probably weren't that friendly to the Normans, while the Normans likely weren't that amiable towards the Anglo-Saxons. An Anglo-Saxon might come into a room, but a Norman would enter into a chamber. An Anglo-Saxon might buy themselves a shirt, while a Norman would purchase a blouse. And while that filthy peasant's new shirt may be fair, the Norman blouse is absolutely beautiful. The Normans actually considered...
Damn, all the heavy words come from Norman. All the proper sophisticated words, right?
Some Anglo-Saxon words so crude that I can't even say them on YouTube. But there's more. Ask an Anglo-Saxon what job he does, and he might respond with some low-level trade, such as a baker, a miller, or a shoemaker. But a Norman has a skilled trade, like a painter, a tailor, or a merchant. The Anglo-Saxon farmers working in the fields owned many cows, pigs, and sheep, but once they were served up in a Norman banquet, they became beef, pork, and mutton. And written English changed too. Since many Anglo-Saxons couldn't write, the written language was romanticized. Your annoying friend that says cool whip might just be speaking an Old English dialect, as the Anglo-Saxons originally wrote it when, where, and what, but the Normans swapped the W and H around, and the long English A vowel sounded more like an O to the Normans, so you can thank them that you live in a home, not a ham. Hey, fun fact about William, the man...
That's the thing, right? English language basically, core of it started with the Anglo-Saxons, but Norman just, perfected it the way that we know right now. Perfected in that sense. So all the, sophisticated words like, enter the chamber and, beautiful and everything, that comes from Normans basically.
Couldn't read or write. Not in French, not in English, not in anything. Well, what if I told you there was a place where you could learn French, English, even Japanese if you wanted? And not just that. Pick up a musical instrument, learn to code games and apps, animation, photography and film, anything you could dream of. All taught by genuine experts, and you can get your first 2 months for free. I'm talking about...
Yeah, people, go to skillshare.com/oversimplified3 and support this channel. Yeah, this is a great channel to support. I like how, casual way he says some things like, there's a guy who's coming to kill you, and there's a pause, and the king goes like, how about we kill them first? I love the casual type of comedy that he uses here. Well, people, that was the war that changed the English language. I kind of knew that because, of course, it has to be the William the Conqueror, because he changed the entire landscape of England, right? a third of the people can trace their lineage back to him or something like that. And he was Viking, basically. Normans were Vikings. So technically all the British people, most of them are Vikings or something. Yeah. Alright people, if you like my reaction, don't forget to subscribe. Check out the reaction, there's a link in the description. Check out the cast with the different playlists. Check out the end cards, and yeah, if you want me to react to any other video other from Oversimplified or any other, I guess comment down. And I guess the one gets more like, I'll react to it, and even the one that don't, I'll react to it eventually too. So yeah, I'll see you next time.